The candidates to replace Justin Trudeau as Liberal Party leader will square off once again in tonight's English language debate. This after Monday night's French debate saw the hopefuls calling out Trump for his rhetoric towards Canada since taking office.
Trump represents the greatest threat to Canada since World War II. What we need today is allies, and we have to find them and work with them.
Canada will never, ever be part of the U.S.
We have to understand that Canada has a lot to offer the world, but we have to help businesses to diversify from the U.S. and to enter into these new markets.
80% of our trade goes towards exports go to the United States. That's why I propose a new economic bloc that would gather Canada, United Kingdom, Australia, and New Zealand.
Candidates shared their thoughts on other topics, including healthcare, taxes, immigration, climate change, and support for Ukraine. The entire debate was in French, putting the spotlight on frontrunner Mark Carney's proficiency with language, who stumbled the most when speaking French. And the former Bank of Canada governor, as we mentioned, stumbled during last night's debate when he said in French the candidates were in agreement with Hamas. Joining us now is our Ottawa correspondent, Glen McGregor. So, Glen, Carney was forced to clarify his comments after the debate.
That's right. This was on a section where they were discussing the situation in Gaza and Hamas, and all four candidates, as they did throughout the entire 2 hours, were largely in agreement on how they would approach this. Were they chosen as Liberal leader and then as Prime Minister, all denouncing Hamas, the October 7th attacks, calling for the release of Israeli hostages, but ultimately looking forward to a two-state solution. So Mark Carney was encapsulating his position and said that everyone on the stage, he said this in French, was in agreement with Hamas. He meant to say, of course, about or on Hamas. French is not Carney's first language. In fact, none of the candidates, it was their first language. It was really kind of a test for them. But this is how it went. Let's take a listen.
So I'm not proposing for one moment that we'll work with Hamas.
We all agree on Hamas, on a two-state
No, we don't agree with
solution.
Hamas. No, we're against
Yes,
Hamas,
we're all against
absolutely.
Hamas. We are.
I said that we all were in agreement against Hamas, or at least the intention. And I have to be clear, to be absolutely clear, and I began my response with respect to the Middle East about the fundamental issue that all the hostages have to be returned to their families. And of course, Hamas has no place ever in any future discussions.
Now, even before the debate ended, Conservative MPs and Conservative strategists were jumping on that remark. Some of them making it sound like he actually agreed with Hamas. Of course, that's not what he meant. He just kind of misspoke himself, chose the wrong preposition. Others, though, saying this raises a real concern about Carney's ability to communicate in French. Of course, prime ministers should be bilingual, and this is obviously an area of weakness. I think Conservatives, though, secretly happy about this because it suggests that Pierre Poilievre, who is fluently bilingual, speaks very good French, would have a real advantage in an election campaign debate against Carney in French. So I think the Carney camp is going to really apply itself until that point to really improve his French. It was clearly a stumble. Obviously, he doesn't agree with Hamas. None of the candidates do, but some Conservatives then made it sound like that on social media. Lots of tweets, people saying, oh, Mark Carney agrees with Hamas. He clearly didn't mean that, but this is obviously an area of vulnerability for him. Better news, though, today from Mark Carney getting an endorsement, kind of a surprise endorsement from Ontario Liberal leader Bonnie Crombie. We didn't think she was necessarily going to pick say who she wanted to see lead the federal Liberal Party, but this morning a tweet from her talking about the need for the Liberals to be led by a leader who will get the basics right for people, how to shore up and diversify our economy, and how to protect and improve the public healthcare system that we all take pride in. She says, I believe Mark Carney is that kind of leader, and I'm proud to have his support. So an endorsement from Bonnie Crombie there. Tonight, we'll go back at it in Montreal again. Another debate, this one in English. Probably a lot more eyeballs on this one right across the country, and a much more comfortable environment, Faiza, for Mark Carney debating in English.
All right, our Glen McGregor in Ottawa. Glen, thank you so much.